Good morning, Geekdom. Good morning, you guys. Today it's me, Artisan MC. My phone is kind of fucking greasy, apparently. Got a little halo on my video. What's going on, everybody? Happy post-Labor Day to you. I am on my 80-mile-an-hour commute. My first day back to work since Wednesday of last week. Scorpion has been in his burrow for about 5 days, resting and recuperating, trying to get his mind right. It's not completely right, but don't usually get breaks like that. So you're going with what you got. So I would ask any of you guys if you understood what a molt was. What up, Malika? Peace to the me bang. And realizing it today, getting back out in the world, because I literally have been in the house, in my room, for like 5 days. I did not leave at all. I didn't go anywhere. I went outside. I went to the door a few times, and I went outside one time, and that was to roll the windows down in my little car because I didn't realize how hot it was outside. And I was glad I did because it was 122 degrees in my car. Got leather seats. That's not a nice experience trying to creep into the car and turn the ignition and get the windows open. That was a fun experience. Now, get the perfunctory stuff out of the way. Like, share, subscribe, support the goddamn stream. Support your interests. For the better part of 5 days, I've listened to content on YouTube. It's pretty much the only thing that I watched outside of the original Game of Thrones series. And really figuring out the landscape. We're trying to really figure out the landscape and seeing what's happening right now in the landscape, in the Black Manosphere, YouTube, and the geek sector, and whatnot itself. And some things I was happy about, some things I was not overly enthused about. No one, not even burned my butt, dude. Because I didn't sit down. I got leather seats. I like having leather seats because these leather seats are heated. But 122 degrees in my car is not the kind of heat you want on leather seats. Oh, fuck all that. Oh, no. You will burn the flesh off the backside of your little legs. It's not cool. But it was hot just going into it. I felt like I was in an oven cranking up the gas. Okay? I know what that's like because I work and can fix an oven. So yeah, it was oppressive. It was oppression. Yeah. Sure enough, I'm leaving the home this morning. I told you I stay in a predominantly Latino neighborhood now. And seeing all the brothers with their orange shirts on, walking out there to the day labor spots and stuff like that. I'm like, hydrate, man, hydrate. I feel bad for you because they're about to go to a shit job, and it's going to be baking. They are going to be. I know what they're going to be. They're going to be spent by the end of the day. They will lose 5 pounds in just water today, doing whatever the fuck they're doing. Even if they're just standing outside holding a sign, they're about to lose 5 pounds of water today. It is not going to be a fun day for them. And it's still going to be hot. It's going to be dirty. And depending on if they work in commercial or residential, motherfuckers, it's still going to expect them to do everything heavy that they did when it was cool. Everything, nothing changes. Not a goddamn thing changes. Work is work. Get the shit done. Hot, cold, toe sore, miss my hand. It don't matter. Get the shit done. This work is about money. People want to get what they pay for. We take deadlines. So, anyway, I got two competing thoughts right now. The first one is explaining to you guys what a molt is. Not that you're idiots. I just don't think that you give a fuck about it enough to know. But just explain how I understand what I was going through. Scorpions, in some ways, that arachnid family, right, close to it, they go through at times what's called a molt. Because they have an exoskeleton, not an internal skeleton, but an exoskeleton that keeps them from harm. When they get bigger, they have to molt that off, right? And to get bigger, you basically you grow another layer of exoskeleton under the current one you have. And when that one is tough enough and you're bigger, you break out of that old carapace and discard it. It's called a molt with scorpions. I'm going through a molt. Basically, what I equivalent my language centers access fully. Basically, I use a molt as an analogy for what I learned I've gone through in life at various points. I have to go through a molt. I have to go through some points where I have to grow and become stronger, bigger and stronger. And I have to do it by casting off that old shell. That old shell has to go. Okay. Snakes do it. Tarantulas do it, believe it or not. Scorpions do it. Right? They have to go through a molt. Now, I don't own a scorpion. I don't. It's one of the things I don't own and haven't had yet. But it doesn't mean I have not researched, because anything I plan to do, I research first. I've researched scorpions to know how to take care of them if I ever had them. The time I wanted one, I had small children, and I didn't want them to possibly get stung. I didn't think it was the kind of pet to have where you ain't supposed to be touching shit. As a single man, I just times haven't been to the point where I felt really relaxed where I was and wasn't moving or in a state of instability to where I could actually plant roots and actually just say this is where I'm going to be for the stretch, and now I can relax and have all these things that I want to have. I haven't been there yet. That's pretty much been since the divorce. I've been almost semi-nomadic. Things have changed in a couple of years. So right now, I know I'm going through a moment. What will happen after I come out of that molt will be some things will be solidified and some things will go away from who I have defined myself or been as a person. Some of that shit is going to have to go. You can't carry it anymore. You cannot carry it anymore. Cannot bear the burden of it anymore. So that's going to make me a different person in a sense. And because I already told you guys, I always look at my birthdays as a new version of myself. The last year and where I'm at and where I want to be, I'm coming up on another birthday. So it's understandable why I am having the feelings that I'm feeling, the thoughts that I am. It's time. It's time. It's time again. It's time to shit. Look away, bitch. You are not doing shit but holding up traffic. Already running late. I hate when motherfuckers on a 2-lane road, and people just try to keep you from getting in front of them, so they keep going fast enough to get up to the next car on the other side to keep you from passing. But they don't want to drive any faster than that or get out the way. Like this bitch who was just for 3 miles just riding somebody's fucking tail, and then as soon as I try to get over to get from behind her, now she want to jump over and speed up. Like, oh, now you found your fucking gas pedal all of a sudden. Comfortable sucking his carbon monoxide a minute ago. Now, oh no, you can't get in front of me. Stupid ass. It's always fucking chicks. No etiquette in driving. Anyway, I'm going through a mold right now. Part of my mold the last 5 days was sitting there and listening to a lot of YouTube content and realizing I primarily only listen to YouTube. I'm not watching shit on TV until I'm going to a streaming service, maybe checking out some of the news, because I don't watch a lot of the news stuff because it's just negativity, which I'm seeing as a problem. And that I have to, in some ways, re-engage in this world. Not that I've been disengaged, but I tend to talk to more people who work and whatnot than listening to talking heads on television tell me what's what. It's pretty much the same thing with YouTube. I don't listen to a lot of people on YouTube to tell me what's what. No. I listen to them to tell me what they think. In 5 days of watching this shit, I realized a lot of these motherfuckers don't think. They don't think shit. They don't. They really are a fucking pet shop full of parakeets. I watched a whole 2-hour show yesterday, and all I heard was Manosphere coming out of this host's mouth. And the funniest shit that I heard was a room full of people from UK trying to understand what it meant for a man to say he imprinted a woman. And they saw it as a negative, like it's some type of grooming shit that he's preying upon. And because the person running the show only heard the point from the black manosphere, the person couldn't defend the point and give them a clear enough definition. So they just ran with whatever gray area definition they wanted to go with. And that's all I fucking heard. A bunch of gray area stance on everything. Whatever they can throw down there to give them enough shade and enough cover to never have to make a definitive fucking decision. Well, that's annoying. Because if you got the points from the sphere, as I call it, you don't know it? You don't know what it means by saying somebody is imprinted? You listen long enough to hear about the imprint and get a vague description, a bullet point of it, but you didn't listen long enough to understand how to explain it to anybody? This is the problem with, to me, this is the problem with American black culture. We create so much, we throw out so much, be it lexicon, be it ideas, be it theories, be it understanding, be it just creative output, that we can't even get rich off of. Other people will make a damn good living vulturing off of some of our shit. That's it. They will make a damn good living and notoriety and everything else off of vulturing points from us. And have no shame about it. No. And if this pisses you off, which it does to me a little bit because I just think it's sad because I'm a creative person. But this is one of the things I understood in the 20s of what the skill of Caucasians actually is. The skill of Caucasians is actually taking your shit. They are great students of other people's culture, ideas, and whatever. And I realized this, I mentioned it to you guys before, is that why is the foremost expert on Japanese samurais a white person? And I thought of that when I was watching this show on samurais. So they had the expert on samurais, and the motherfucker jumped up there, and it's the white dude. I'm like, there ain't no Japanese people who know as much about samurais than this motherfucker? Are you shitting me? How does that even work? Because they take your culture that you freely give them because you think it is some benefit in having them be really unafraid of you. So you sell it to them. And you don't even really sell it to them because you don't get paid for it a lot of times. You just give it to them freely. And they take it freely and sell it back to your bitch ass. They will make a profit talking about the stuff that you gave them for free to you. They're profit off of it. You want to know how that shit works? You black folks. Jesus is black and white. Perfect example. And if you want to stretch that thought a little further to understand it, if black folks believe in Jesus when they got dragged to this country? No? So why they accept it so wholeheartedly now? They sold you their bullshit. Took yours from you and sold you in repackaged. So that's what I heard. Now that was just involving the imprint. In the geek space, I heard the same shit coming out of the same people's mouths. And the funny part was, it's mostly fucking females. There's guys too. But it was predominantly fucking females. Repeating points, trying to sound cool, talking about shit that they are actually doing themselves. But garnering a lot of attention, clicks and views, or should I say tips and views, or clicks and views, as the marketing strategy. With a couple of goofy dudes up here who don't do shit but listen to other people's content and repeat that. That's where they get their flavors from. It was very noticeable listening to all this House of the Dragon, Rings of Power bullshit. Out of the number of people I listened to, there was at least two who knew what the fuck they were talking about. Because they had actual first-hand experience in having read the material with the material. Everybody else repeating something they heard from somebody else. And all I did was like what you would do if you had a word in a dictionary, right? You go for the root. You go for the root word and you keep tracking it back, right? If you want to do the etymology of a word, that's what you do. You just keep tracking it back to its earliest usage, right? Or if you're doing research, somebody talks about a theory, they make a reference to what the theory is they're talking about. You go back and read that person's paper and see where they form their ideas from. And if they reference something else, you go back and read that. So you're constantly backtracking to where the idea came from. Well, for one, these motherfuckers ain't original. So I know it ain't came from them. Because if it had, we wouldn't be able to hear it in 3 other places. Exactly the same way, exactly the same verbiage. And that's what makes the shit kind of funny. They take what works. They take what works. That's why they can't change it too much. They have to repeat it the same way because they want the same reaction. Reaction being they validate their position that they know what they're talking about in this space, which in fact they actually don't. They took it from somebody they believe knows what they're talking about, and that's why they repeat it the same way. Now, some of them will try to twist it a little bit, and that's when you get into your sampling. You adjust to 10%, and now it's yours, right? So that's what they're doing. It is no different than the shit that they're talking about with most of the stuff going on in geekdom right now. Namely, like this Rings of Power shit. The same shit you railing about these activists doing, my word, activists, is actually the same thing you do. You remixing somebody else's words out of your mouth to make it sound like kind of you said it, but it's not you. That's why you just keep having to repeat the same shit. Every one of them. So it's interesting to me because I think on the two examples, if it wasn't the Black Manosphere and people trying to break this shit down and black folks doing what they always do, injecting their flavor into the information that's readily available to everybody, it's cool and important. It wouldn't be take it off. That's what you do is shut it down. You don't have to repeat shit you said. The converse, listening to me, listening to a stream, a 3-hour stream in the Black Manosphere, I don't hear repeated points. I don't hear the same refrain said the same way every time. And I think that's because that is one of the abilities that black people have. Yeah, I know no one. I know where I'm driving. I'm going to be Borgen for a minute. We constantly have to innovate and switch up because we, as black people, or at least ADOS, foundational black, whatever the fuck you want to call it, melanated Americans, whatever, you always have to be reading the landscape. Your survival is based on adapting the quick be efficient. That's why like that change so quick. That's why our lexicon changes so quick. You're developing something under the threat of you need to do this or die. So you always have to change it up. Always. You're in a constant state of changing up. You don't think so? Think about your damn friends. Think about just the slang that everybody uses nowadays, especially in the YouTube space. You know where it came from. You understand where the talking points came from. These motherfuckers wasn't talking about it before. They wasn't. Not in the way that we were. Okay, you know where it came from. Do we use that same terminology now? Black folks, for the most part, in the U.S. is America's fucking muse. We throw out a shitload of ideas that people take and run with and profit off. They never want to give us credit. Ever. And I'm not talking about paying a little lip service here and there. Look, everybody like a little bit of a blowjob. That don't mean shit. That ain't actually showing love. It's just kissing the ring, ain't it? Just what you do when you show up in the kingdom. You do that shit to curry some favor. So you can keep on mining and undermining the content. Now, what I heard in that 5 days was repeated points, and none of them original. None of them. It was the same repeated points from the same source who didn't really have a good idea. He was just the loudest voice in the room when somebody started speaking about the shit. Pretty much it. Other than that, yeah, didn't really know. I listened to somebody talk about a show that he didn't even finish fucking watching. I turned it off after 15 minutes. Why the fuck are you running the stream talking about it? You have nothing to share then, because you didn't read the source material. So then you didn't even watch the show to be able to talk about that. So what are we talking about? What are you up here for? That's why you got these regurgitating fucking annoying sounding crones up here to repeat shit they heard from other dudes. Uno momento. Oh, I can't say I missed that. 5 days in the house, and the first black woman I deal with got an attitude like, bitch, I don't even know you. Can't say I missed that. Can't say I missed that at all. But to wrap this up in a little Geek Speak, because finally at work and I still clock in 2 minutes late because this light is going to take forever. Looking at all that content in both spaces, what I understand is that I geek, therefore I am. Basically, if you understand the quote is, I think, therefore I am. And understanding who you are and what it is made of. And for what I was seeing, motherfuckers was missing some points because nobody gave them to them to repeat. They didn't give them flavorful ones to repeat. They was eating the dry part of the chicken for a bit. They were. They got the dry part of the chicken, so it was nothing really tasty and savory to vulture off of. So they could spit it out and smile. Wasn't it funny? It was funny when the first guy said it. You want the same laugh? What kind of shit is that? Have you ever gone to a comedy show, listen to one dude come up there and kill, the next motherfucker come up behind him, say exactly the same thing that the first dude said, and still be sitting up there giggling, expecting the same reaction? Get the fuck out of here. No. You just ripped off his whole fucking act right when he just got off the stage. He backstage watching you. Are you fucking kidding me? You don't have your own material? You better come up with your own shit. Cause yeah, everybody know comedians steal jokes, but even comedians will tell you comedians steal jokes. These other motherfuckers, no, I never did that. Motherfucker, we just watched you. We listened to the last guy. We just listened to you. You said the same shit. Verbatim. Where is your material? That's the part that bothers me. I get frustrated about it a lot because, like I've told you guys, I'm a creative person. I don't believe there was a thing even when I was young and wanted to be a rapper, you couldn't bite somebody else's rhymes. Couldn't. Couldn't bite somebody else's rhymes. You couldn't spit somebody else's shit and then think you're gonna get a pat on the back because you spit their lyrics out of your mouth. No, nigga, you better write your own shit or pay somebody to write some shit for you. You can't spit the other person's stuff. And for me, in my mind, how that works, ain't nobody spit my shit but me. And if I don't put it out there, it won't. So, coming to a YouTube near you, I'll be back on spitting my shit. And I look forward to spitting that shit with y'all. That's it. I got to get in here for this meet. So, like, share, subscribe, support the stream if you feel so inclined. I'm Artisan MC, and this has been my Geek Speak for the moment.